Hello everyone, Hachadino over here, and as you always know, you can like the videos and subscribe in any of the cats that it's on the sites. Now, this is going to be a fast one. I also just going to tell this outright. This video only works kind of for this week and the next, as I'm going to tell you tips and tricks to do more damage in the beta, as a Subletted Rogue, of course, and as Trickster and also Death Stalker. There are some bugs that we can play around, there are some mechanics that we can play around, and there are some cool things that we can use. Ignore my build for a bit. This is kind of cool build that has Cliff with Trickster thanks to Nimble Fury, but I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in the beta cycle. As now, as you know, there can still be many changes, and I don't want to give information then for it not to be right, or just in this case, not make any kind of guides until there is more info around. Now, first of all, playing around disorienting strikes, I've already told this several times. This is bugged, and it does not work if our Unseen Blade is on cooldown. So what do we have to do? On openers, or when we want to take those two Unseen Blades, you have to make sure that even if we got a reset, we still don't have any way to know if that reset has happened. Remember, it's a private thing that you can't even call as an aura. So you use Shuriken Storm, keep Shuriken Storm, and that way you get your combo points, and you use the first finishers like that. And this goes into my second thing that I want to say. There's also a cool thing with our tier set right now. Remember how we used on the beta and other places Cold Blood with Secret Technique? Then this is exactly the same. You can use Secret Technique and then Symbols of Death. And if you are fast enough, you can use Macro 8, of course. You have around 0.5 to 0.7 seconds for it to work, and it increases the damage and you still get the buff for the next one. This is not that important as Dust, but if you are not playing Dust, that means that you are going to get your two secret techniques inside your cooldowns buffed with the tier set, that is 20%. Of course, non-Dust uses another build all around, but it doesn't have any crazy things. You will use secret technique and then Symbols of Death, and it will get buffed, and you also get the buff for the next one. Remember, we use dance every 25 seconds or something like that, so it's likely that you get that use. Of course, you can also use this on AoE. It actually helps more on AoE because you get more secret techniques than dances 7, and maybe even more when you are using tornado and other things. So you are getting two for the price of one. Of course, remember, secret technique does a lot of damage, and you get that free 20%. Now we go on to another cool thing. Now that we use secret technique, we can get our coup de grace. And now this is something that you may not have noticed, but coup de grace gives us actually 3 dance macabre stacks. This means that everything we do in dance is increased by 18%. That means, of course, also that you can enter dance and you scoop if you can, of course. And then you also get the free stack from entering dance. So you begin with 4 stacks. You can see here, even 5 stacks because we got the Unseen Blade. That is another thing that makes, of course, have dances with 9 or even 10 dance macabre stacks. That's a lot of damage. So that's another thing you can use in your dungeon or raid adventures. It's likely a bug that will get fixed, but you can play with this. Of course, do a lot of damage. Now, for the next thing, this one will be with Trickster. You may have already kind of expected this, but with Clear the Witnesses, after you apply a mark, you get the Clear the Witnesses here, and this buff makes it so it's worth to use Shuriken Storm in single target and also inside dance if you are outside your cooldowns. And even inside, as you get that extra shadow damage, that makes it stronger than backstab. And remember, we were already backstabbing while we had blades. There's also Fatal Intent, that it's a new thingy, and it's not a tip and trick, but it lasts 1 minute. So if you are in a cliff fight and you are hitting one thing, don't forget to also hit the other thing a little bit so the buff doesn't go away. And then for Darkest Night, there's not much to say apart from the try to proc it inside dance, of course. And same thing with Coop. Now, this is everything that I wanted to say without any crazy things. And the last thing I will leave you is with one last thing, and is a tip with Flicker Strike. There are some dungeons where you can use Feint and even Evasion to get resets from our Unseen Blade. I will try to make a list, but it's going to likely take quite a bit. Maybe it's not going to be ready until release, but we already know the dungeons that are on the rotations. And I actually like this reset that you can get because it can be every 5 seconds. Of course, this is going to generally be stronger, but remember, if we can get those extra resets in our cooldowns, Unseen Blade actually does quite a bit of damage and works with Shadow Blades. If you use Shadow Blades here, let me reset this, and we use one Shadow Strike. You can see that we got here a lot of hits from the, of course, the cliff that we have from Nimble Fury also. So that's everything that I wanted to say. It was not that fast, but I actually really like these kind of things and theory crafting and finding things out. Now have a nice day, and I will see you on the next video.